Magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Welcome to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Brand new show this week. Tons of great information, all kind of stuff to talk about. Really got the micro market numbers in. Really, we talked last week about what happened in the macro market. We saw a 23% decline in terms of sales. We saw some prices that had softened, but bounced back up a little bit. We'll talk about what's going on in your area, your neighborhood, your zip code, which is kind of one of the things I get the most feedback about. And you're able to kind of go through that. One thing too, usual, if you want to go back, listen to any shows, you can always go back. We stream this on YouTube. Just search Sloan Realty Group and Blake Sloan. Also Facebook under Sloan Realty Group, and also my personal Facebook. If you just want to go follow me on there as well. And we also have this in a podcast format. If you want to go back on any of your main podcast platforms, go back and listen to, just search Blake Sloan and Sloan Realty Group. But always here to provide value. Just want to give you the information and data for you to help make the best decisions that you can with one of your largest assets, which is real estate. Been doing this here over 10 years in this station. And so really got some great information for you today. One thing that's been a great kind of thing to talk about for homeowners, this new article out, may have seen it here nationally. Also is in the Sun News here. Myrtle Beach home prices trending way up above the national average, which is great news for us. And it really goes down to something we talked about in previous shows. We talked about kind of this great migration, right? Where I mentioned our marketplace here is very well insulated because we've seen so many people relocate from up north and other places, which has really kind of helped insulate prices, which has been great news as well with that. So we'll dig into the micro market numbers. We'll recap the overall macro market numbers for anybody that may have missed last week's show. Our team has still been absolutely crushing it, even as the market has shifted just a little bit. And we have some amazing success stories to talk about. We'll talk about inventory. Inventory spiked up about 42%. And we'll talk about what's happening there with houses, with condos, a lot of those things as well. Also, as usual, I also have a fund looking to purchase properties. If you ever want to sell something as is and just sell it quickly, have to mess with the market, we also have a fund that can purchase that for you easily and very great fair price in that as well. And as usual, our team's expanding this year as well. Had a record year last year, number one team in Myrtle Beach by double. And looking at a few people to our team. If you're in real estate or thinking about getting in real estate, want to be at a high level, our team's looking at one or two more people right now. And I'll talk about that at the end of today's show.
You heard the personal endorsements here by Sean Hannity, also Barbara Corcoran, Gary LeBlanc. Put them all together, it's just totally unprecedented. Now that's one thing, but the other thing is that Blake has trademark systems for both home sellers and home buyers. They are trademarked, so we can't give you all the details, but more than happy every week to tell you the most important part of that system.
Yes, and that's kind of been the blood, sweat, and tears behind the past 17 plus almost 18 years in this business of really. And I made a promise 10 plus years ago on this show that, look, we'll talk about this every week because it's so important. And what happened was I would get people who listen to the show who listened for a while. And they were pretty good listeners. And then they would just have a horror story. They finally called me and said, well, we went with our friend first. And it was a bad experience, especially back then the market was a little slower. And they'd get the second chance and they'd say, man, we had a nice friend or a nice person or my neighbor referred me to so-and-so. They had a massive horror story. And then they finally had so much pain that they called us. But what I realized is, for every two that call us, there's about 8 that made the wrong decision, went with somebody else, and it cost them tens of thousands of dollars of hard equity. The property didn't sell. There's all these things that happen. So here's the deal. It's important for me to mention this on every single show because it's the number one mistake I see consumers make in real estate anywhere. And that mistake is they make the mistake of thinking that all real estate agents are the same, right? Just like any doctor, any lawyer, if you're charged with a crime you did not commit, the last thing I want, right, is a brand new public defender. I want somebody who's the absolute best, most aggressive, top in the country there to defend me that specializes in that type of law, right? And it's the same thing you should demand in terms of excellence when you're dealing with your largest asset. For most people, one of their largest assets. They think that all the agents are all the same, but it could not be further than the truth because the fact is the single most important variable that determines your fair success as a home seller, also a home buyer, comes down to one thing only. That thing is the agent that you choose. And so I made a promise to talk about that at least quickly on each show because I just see it every single week, multiple times a week, these horror stories. And also people that, go with some agent that may be their friend or whatever it is. And I see them online with just absolute horror in terms of how it's marketed, how it's positioned. And the reality is when you're selling a property, the reason I say that variable is so important is because it really comes down to how they actually execute. So when you sell a property, what most people don't realize is there's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one of those variables is handled correctly, what it does is it puts you at an advantage, right? It stacks the dominoes up. It creates leverage for you. And if anything's handled incorrectly, aka they drop the ball at any point, that costs you your hard-earned equity. And that could be anything from the agent not pricing the property correctly, right? The photos not being great, the order of the photos. There's a science to how buyers search. You want to make sure you have that right exposure. Most agents, what they did, especially the market was hot, is they did the 3 Ps. Number one, they promise you to get a listing. Number two, they put it into MLS. And 3, they just pray that someone else brings a buyer. And so that worked when the market was super hot. Right now, we're seeing a lot of sellers freak out and call us freaking out that their property was listed before it didn't sell because you can no longer get away with being some part-time agent that got in the business, taking photos on your cell phone and get the property sold. Now you actually have to be good. And so here's the deal, right? You want to make sure you control all those variables from A to Z. And it can be anything from, does your agent answer the telephone when somebody calls them? Do they respond to web leads online? If they do respond online, how long does it take them to get back to that consumer? And there's all these things that have to happen in the right order to make sure that it gives you, the consumer, a competitive advantage. So what I did is say, look, there's got to be a better way, right? When I got in the business, really everyone was just a single agent that was trying to juggle all the balls. And so what you had was one agent who's like the same person at McDonald's doing the front register, the drive-thru, and the French fries at the same time. And it does not work very well, which is why a lot of people are unhappy with the experience they have in terms of the realtor. And so we sat out and really designed a program, said, how do we manage those variables proactively with 2 things? Number one, a team of people, 30 plus people on the team, and also technology to make sure that we have a team of specialists who can use the technology to create maximum leverage for our client at every single point. And then we stack those dominoes up to create a massive competitive advantage for them on the back end. That system I designed, like Dave mentioned, right, is trademarked. I designed it very, very well, licensed it to some other agents, other parts of the country, but it's exclusive to us here, and it works very, very, very well. It's called the Guaranteed Sold System. The only proven system sells twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods, and it works very, very, very well. On the flip side, there's 100 plus variables for buyers out there. Everybody thinks, oh, agents are all the same. That's when they miss out on properties. They overpay for properties. They don't get the right repairs done. And so they're stuck with these horror stories of properties that damage and mold and issues. All these things happen. I see it every day. And so you want to make sure you have an agent who's number one, an expert, but number two, has a process that can give you a competitive advantage when you're purchasing. And so I designed this thing called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. Gives you priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as negotiation through the home inspection to get you to that closing table comfortably, but also with the best advantage possible. And so just taking that into note, listen to the show, any friend or relative, like, it matters who you use, right? Just like anything else, doctors, it matters who you use, it matters who you have. You want someone who really studies that and who really digs into that and knows the ins and outs to help you have that huge advantage, because you want that in your size. If you want to know more how that works, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD, or to go to blakesloan.com anytime to learn more about that. I'll be right back in a second.
Sloan Realty Group. If I were listing a home today, what advice would you give me? The advice that I give you today is you have to find an agent with a proven marketing plan that can get you the exposure you need to get top dollar and record numbers in today's marketplace. Most agents for MLS and hopes one other brings a buyer. Meanwhile, you need somebody who spends money and gets the traction and traffic that you deserve. And how would that impact my bottom line? That's what matters. That massively impacts your bottom line because it brings more traffic, it brings more buyers, it creates bidding wars, but more importantly, it brings in the traction of buyers from out of town who see our value and are willing to come in and pay more money and top dollar for your property here along the Grand Train. All right, as always, thanks for the insight. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corbett. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. You offer several options to home sellers, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. For sellers in a time crunch, you can agree to sell it by a certain date, take cash for your home, or even rent it.
That's great. And if the seller has a bit more time?
Use our proven marketing plan and sell it to the highest price.
Work with my friend Blake Sloan and get the home sold on your terms.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Brand new market numbers in. We'll talk about that for anybody that missed last week's show. There's a couple of different types of numbers, and the data you use really matters, especially when you're trying to make good decisions, right? And there's just so many types of data. Most people just use the overall macro market, which is closed sales in the rearview mirror, right? What happened last month? And that's what most people do. That's what we've done here for years and years. And it's great, but you got to understand that the deals that closed last month went under contract 30 to 60 days prior to that. And so you want some more real-time data too. We'll talk about both those. And also, we'll talk about micro market data, which is like per zip code. And then really any clients we meet with, we have software that breaks down the micro market in terms of your neighborhood. So we'll kind of talk about that. Just kind of a quick overview. So looking at last month's overall macro market numbers, sales down 23.4% from the same time last year. So look at July's numbers. You go July last year, 658. July this year, 504. So significant drop, and that's year versus year. If you look at month versus month, June there was 660, July 504, about a 14% drop in terms of sales. So that's obviously meaning less buyer demand. We always know that price is really a supply and demand issue, and it's always a lagging indicator. And so we'll talk about that overall. The one thing we talk about from a supply standpoint, supply is up 42.9% from the same time last year. Right now, we're at 2.0 months inventory. That's still good news for sellers out there. A healthy, a middle buyer's market starts at 6 months plus inventory. We were in a super seller's market with 0.9 months of inventory back in really January 2022, and then kind of late last year. But right now it's up to 2.0 months, which is good. It's healthy. That means there's more opportunities out there for buyers. We had a lot of sellers who couldn't sell because they couldn't find anything else. So now there's significant more homes on the market, and we're seeing some movement a little bit versus having that stale people who are stuck in where they're at. So looking at prices up 13.9% from the same month last year, which is good. I was talking to my team this week and some people on the team. Prices look to have really peaked out though this year in May. If, for example, you look at median price, it peaked out at 380,000. Right now, it's at 370,000. It's been at 370 flat for the last 2 months. You look at average sale price, which tends to be a little more reactive. It kind of obviously reacts a lot quicker, and you kind of see what's happening in real time. It also peaked out right about April to May. So end of April, it peaked out at 486,984. Then it dropped in May to 474,975. Then in June, it hit 449,990. And then last month, it bumped up just a little bit, which is good news. And I predicted that too a while back when we saw the pending deals go up. But right now, 452,711. So it's up 13.4% from where it was last year, but it is back down from the peak here this year that peaked out at 486. So you're seeing softening of price a little bit. That's what happens when you see a 42% increase in inventory, 25% decrease in obviously buyers out there. So keep that in mind overall. The one good news is I watch these numbers every single day, share them with our team every morning in our morning huddle. But we look here at properties go under contract. Remember previous shows, we started tracking that back during COVID when it started. I look at how many properties in Horry County went under contract, really, properties went under contract in the entire MLS, which is Horry County, Georgetown County, Southern North Carolina. And so right now, the last 7 days, 553 properties under contract for 195 million, which is good. Look at last week's show, 541 under contract for 199 million. So really you're seeing about 12 more properties under contract in this 7-day period, which is good. Also, you're seeing more inventory right now, 840 active listings for sale in Horry County. There's single family homes in Horry County. I just use that because it's very easy to understand that homes are kind of what you see mostly. People are buying and selling, and it really just kind of helps you keep the playing field even where you've seen that climb up. If you go back just really looking at 12 weeks ago, the homes were actually there was 382 active homes, and so significant increase. And back then there were 690 properties under contract in a 7-day period for 215 million. And so you can see the difference there. Overall, still a lot of high-end stuff going. We obviously have been done very well with that. 13 properties over $1 million under contract the last 7 days. 79 properties over 500,000 the last 7 days. And literally go last week's show, there was also 13 properties over $1 million. So it's staying pretty steady, which is good. And that's good news out there for home sellers as well. We've seen some investors parking cash here, seen a lot of money from up north still pumping in here, which is good news for home sellers out there, where we are seeing people still relocate, even though rates have gone up. We have seen prices drop a little bit on the high end across the marketplace. They're a little more sensitive in terms of that. If you look, just kind of looking at average sale price, they peaked out in April. If you look at the overall, any property over 329,000, it kind of groups them up. They peaked out with overall average sale price in April, 658,391. It dropped all the way down the past couple months to 562,761. So really almost $100,000 drop in terms of the high-end properties on average. But again, there's so many different type of properties, multi-million-dollar ones, 500, 700. So it all depends. But you have seen that kind of take a little bit of a decline there. So if you're thinking about selling, you probably want to take some action sooner than later, especially with seasonality. We tend to see a lot of money come in the fall, also in the spring, and it's one of those things to be a great opportunity for any home sellers out there as well. I'm going to jump in really quick, just hit a couple of the micro market things. Again, this is what we get the most feedback. The one thing to watch out for, though, is this is usually year versus year data. I like to take it and break down one-on-one with our clients month versus month because it gives me more of real time what's happening. And so that really comes into prices because prices are above where they were last year, but they have declined slightly, about 8% in the last couple of months. So right now, Myrtle Beach sales, July versus July, down 8.5% from last year. And that's 29577, 29572 zip codes. Year to date, closed sales down 11.2%. The good news, though, prices year to date are up 16.1%, which is awesome. So last year, 370, 270, this year 430,000. So a lot of extra equity for homeowners out there, which is good. Inventory is up 15.9% for single family homes in Myrtle Beach. Condo sales down 28.1% last month versus same time last year. But here's the crazy part. Prices last month, July versus July for condos, up 46.8%. And we talked about that a month or two ago on a previous micro market, that those type numbers just aren't sustainable, which is why you're seeing it kind of cool off a little bit. And I think it's a little bit of a good thing to see that market normalize a little bit, getting kind of back to where it was pre-COVID right now. So again, 155 up to 227,500, which is great. Even condos this year to date, is up 38.6% from 155 up to 214,900, which is awesome news there. Into Carolina Forest sales down last month 11.3%. Year to date, sales in Carolina Forest down 5.8%. The prices, though, are still up year versus year, which is good, up 22.6% from 384,994 last year to 472,112 this year, which is great news overall. Not a whole lot of condo movement there. North Myrtle Beach, closed sales is down 19.3% year versus year. Year to date, down 5.4%. Condos down 23% in North Myrtle Beach. The good news, though, prices are up 16.6% for condos from $259,450 up to $302,500. And also, I think I missed price. Price is kind of flat, though, in North Myrtle Beach for single family homes from last year, $495 to $516,644, which is a 4.4% increase. Looking at Little River, sales are up year versus year, which is good. One of the few that's up 5.1%. Year to date, though, sales are down in Little River, down 8.4%. Median price up 33%, which is awesome, from $286 to $382 to $11. In Dolores and Long, sales down 14.8%. Prices up 15.9% year versus year, which is great. Soxie area, sales down 11.1% last month, up 24.8% year versus year, which is great. From $275 last year to $343,208 for median price, which is awesome. Conway, sales down 11.6%. Prices up 18%. Into Aner, right? The sales are up 30%. Went from 10 to 13, so not a huge jump there. Just not as much data in Aner out there. We've had a lot of success. I was selling a couple of horse properties out there, which has done very, very well. And price is pretty much flat for $284,950 last year to $280 this year. And that's just going to be because there's just a bunch of unique properties out there. Some have acreage, some do not have acreage. So you really want a case-by-case basis. And you can reach out to us if you want to know more about your property there. Surfside Beach, 29575. Sales down 35.5% last month, which is interesting. The good news, though, price is still up, $299,750. Now it's $380,000, a 26.8% increase. Last couple ones here. Garden City Myrtle is in that big hit. It dropped 46.2% in terms of July versus July sales. Price is still up a little bit, though, 13.4% from $330 last year to $374,950. In Pawleys Island, Litchfield area, sales down 20.8% year versus year. Prices are up 24.7% right now at $597,500. In Georgetown, down 14.3% in sales year versus year, but prices up 5.4%. So just keep that in mind. If you want to know more about how that works and what's your neighborhood, you definitely need an expert, because I do foresee you're probably going to see prices soften a little bit. Some of those prices being up really just because it's comparing July versus July instead of June versus July. We are seeing a month versus month decline there. One thing that's really been driving that, interest rates. Interest rates will jump back up last month. They came back down, which is great. If you look at last week's show, it was, I think, 5.22%. Right now, 5.48%, which is still a great number looking at long term. 15-year fixed rate right now is 4.81%. A 30-year jumbo loan, 4.75%, which is awesome. A 5-year adjust rate mortgage, 5.72. And here's something awesome. FHA loan right now, 30 years, 4.83%. We're seeing people still lock in the fours, which is great news. And a 30-year VA loan, 4.85%. So still a great opportunity if you're thinking about moving, right? Still rates are fairly decent. You can get in. Prices are still going to climb long term, I believe, because inventory is so short across the country. And obviously here, we'll talk about that and how Myrtle Beach is growing a lot faster pace in other areas right after this quick break. How much time I got?
About 6 minutes.
Cool. Let's take that last commercial off.
Okay.
And then that'll be getting me 7 or 6.
I give you about 7 minutes.
Okay, just keep me updated on that.
Get this, Blake guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. It's that you know when your current home will sell by and for how much you can buy your next home without worrying about getting stuck with 2 mortgages.
There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, he is your guy. Read nearly 750 5-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start hacking that Sloan Realty Group.
And tune in to Blake's show Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back to the Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Hot buyers alert. My team and I are working a ridiculous amount of home buyers who are looking for homes in the Myrtle Beach, Grand Strand area from $250,000 to $4.3 million. If you're thinking about selling, contact us immediately. 843-808 sold. That's 843-808 sold. One thing we've been doing for a long time is putting our money where our mouth is, right? A lot of agents just like to promise you stuff. We like to show you proof. And one thing we've been doing for a long time is we share how many active buyers we have every single week that we have that are actively looking for a property just like yours out there. And I usually have Dave read that, but been doing that here lately. Right now, active buyers on our website, 69,024 active home buyers. Again, 69,024 active home buyers. And that's people that are on my website, the username, password, account. Everyone asks me, hey, what makes you different than anybody else? And the difference is our business model allows us to outspend the average agent 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint. And so single agents, right, if they had 69,000 buyers, they'd be out of business. But we have a team model, and we're able to make sure that we're able to drive up demand. And right now when the market is shifting, many agents are getting out of the business, cutting spending. We've been doubling down because I see that as an opportunity. I did the same exact thing during COVID. We had massive growth there, finished up with 788 homes closed last year. And so we're here to help serve you, but we're doubling down, outspending everyone else from a marketing standpoint. And I can bring buyers in from your house, for your house, across the globe. Like right now, I have David Yundy. He's in Myrtle Beach here searching the site. I got Ellen from Westford, Massachusetts, Jerry from New York. Let's see here. I got Wayne from Myrtle Beach right here. I got people all over in terms of, I got Charlotte, North Carolina. I got Charlotte, North Carolina. I got New York again. I got somewhere in Europe here, Dronten, EU. I'm not sure that is. East Morales, New York, and Pawleys Island, South Carolina, all over just right now searching this very second. So if there's somewhere you're thinking about selling, reach out, call me, 843-808 sold. The one thing to know is that we have the buyers, and we'll sit down and show you real time. You can watch them. Well, they're searching for them. We have technology we developed that takes your property, aka your house, right, and reverse engineers the most likely buyer for your property based on their previous search patterns that we have. And it scores them from 1 to 100. And so if you're getting somebody at 98, 99, we reach out, call them. We have a sales team who's obviously very good, experienced, and they share your property with them. Well, the cool part about it is they've been on the site a lot. Like, for example, right now, Lee Lyons from Cream Door, North Carolina, has been on the site 420 times, 720 properties. So that's super awesome there in terms of that. If you think about selling, reach out, call us, 843-808 sold. We're here. We got the buyers. Even when the market is turning, that's the time you want somebody who's very good. When the market's been hot, Anybody can sell a property. I like markets like this because now you actually have to be good, and that's something our team is very, very, very good at. We're very aggressive in terms of marketing and also our follow-up to make sure we service our clients. So awesome success stories really quick. I'm very, very proud of. Patrick recently inherited a family home and decided it's time for him to sell his condo in Surfside so he can move into the family home. Patrick didn't want a huge hassle trying to sell the property. Initially, though, he reached out to different investors and a couple realtors trying to find the easiest way for him to sell his home. And after speaking with investors, he realized that they were all offering pennies on the dollar. Most realtors he spoke with were basically unimpressive at best. Met with us, realized we were the right choice, came in. We designed a custom plan, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos, right? Virtuality walkthrough, had a full price as is offer within 1 day. Now Patrick will move on to his family home, putting maximum equity in his pocket. And here's the coolest part. He was able to sell it as is without fixing up anything and had zero hassle for him, which is awesome. One more here. Steve recently decided it's time to move back to Pennsylvania to be close to his grandkids, watch him grow up. Steve purchased his home in Carolina Forest 2 years ago. He had a friend in real estate who gave him a price that was very low. Thankfully, Steve's been following us on this radio station for many years, knew exactly who to call for the right advice. We met with Steve, showed him how we had data and research that backed up and justified our higher price. We designed a custom plan, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos, virtuality walkthrough within 2 days, had massive traffic, had Steven offer $5,000 above his already high asking price. He was able to put extra money in his pocket and able to move back to Pennsylvania to watch his grandchildren grow up. So definitely don't want to cost yourself money. He would have cost himself a lot of money in that scenario. Make sure you reach out to the experts. We live this stuff. We study it. We eat, breathe, really real estate, every single part. So reach out, call us. Anybody you run into, friend, relative, aunt, uncle, whatever it is, you like them, you don't like them, have them reach out to us very, very, very well as well. All right, 2 minutes left. I want to share this awesome article sent to me by a great listener of ours, also my amazing sign rep, Patty at Coastal Signs, which is awesome. So check us out. Myrtle Beach home prices trending way above the national average. Here's why. And it talks about this and just really talks about some of the prizes. Surprise, July, U.S. home prices jumped to average 11% compared to last summer, selling for an average of $427, right? Myrtle Beach, though, up 34% above the national average, putting it just behind Detroit. But Detroit, they were 37%. Their average sale price, though, is $96,500, right? Although the new cost of a new home, Myrtle Beach, $288,000 as of June, remains below the national rates. We're still up 28% year over year, and that could obviously talk about what's influencing it. And the article talks about the great migration could be influencing the market. Myrtle Beach handed out more than 9,000 building permits last fiscal year, 760 for single families, plus obviously some commercial stuff. So the reality here is that we're seeing massive opportunity in terms of people moving in here. If you're thinking about cashing out, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD, BlakeSloan.com anytime. Well, the good news is these buyers that we talk about that are migrating, guess who has them? We do, because we outspend the average agent. 100% from a marketing standpoint. Reach out, call us, 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com anytime. I couldn't tell if that was like 1 or 0.